Andor Season 2. This is our early reaction to the first 3 episodes. Alan and I have both seen them. This, of course, is the continuing story of Cassian Andor and the growing resistance. The first episode begins with the title screen BBY 4. This is 4 years before the Battle of Yavin.
69.
So, and each 3 episodes covers like a year leading up to the rebellion, the launch of the rebellion, and the first Death Star. So there you go.
I should correct you. It covers a couple days in a year, and then jumps a year later.
Yes, and the highlights of events, let's say, in that year. Right. So it's 4 years leading to, and this will be the Andor Season 2 is it for this property. I think that Cassian Andor is very uninteresting. He's kind of weightless. Maybe a dollar store Han Solo. Not that interesting. The first episode opens with Cassian Andor stealing a TIE fighter with the help of an insider who I want to say this as politely as possible.
Oh no.
You know what I'm going to say?
Yeah, I know what you're going to say.
She is very body positivity, like a large frame. She looks like current day Star Wars fan, female Star Wars fan. With she's a big bottom girl. She's Jabba in shape. I'm not making this up. And it was so distracting. I'm like, how did you get in the military? You just are, I'm just going to say it, fat. This fat insider that helps Cassian Andor steal a TIE fighter. And he takes off in this TIE fighter, crash lands on a planet where he is then taken captive by a group of diverse freedom fighters. Yeah. And I could not care less about the events happening. Let me just say, we can only give our early reaction. Here's what I will say. Defenders of Andor will say this. Andor, it's a slow burn. It's a slow burn. You know what's not a slow burn? Star Wars. Star Wars was never a slow burn. Star Wars was, in the words of director George Lucas, faster, more intense. Faster, faster. This is weightless. This is conversations that don't really matter. Like with all the conflict involving Mon Mothma, she's having conversations where she's having dinner parties. It reminded me of when my mom used to watch like old shows with there would be like British melodramas, British period melodramas. And I would say, oh, is this another episode of The Borings? And she would laugh. And that's what this is. Costume melodrama, weightless events, characters that don't matter in a world where characters exist that we do care about. Like Princess Leia, where is she? She exists in this world. Han Solo is a young smuggler. He exists in this world. Now, credit to them for not throwing them in as key jangling. But I got to say, what they've introduced as new, I don't care about. I really don't care. And but there's one thing this series does well, better than maybe anything we've seen in Star Wars. The production design. It looks better than almost anything Star Wars in terms of the production design and the effects. That TIE fighter steal sequence it's amazing. They showed the entire clip. You can find it online. They released.
You mean the best thing of the entire series?
So far,
yeah.
So we will do a full review next Wednesday after Alan and I watch. At least I will watch
a couple more episodes.
But the thing is, I just don't think. I think this will be even less reviewed or less seen
Covered.
in season 1. I don't think the Disney Plus series have been that impressive, and purportedly the whole season cost $650 million.
That can't be true.
That look it up.
Oh my
it's God. True. I mean, and by the way, it does look expensive.
Yeah,
this is way better than The Acolyte. Way better. I mean, they really had a look, and this is serious. I just don't think it's Star Wars. To me, this is something else, and something else could be exciting. But for me, this did not work. What I've seen so far is less than impressive. Alan, your early reaction.
My early reaction. So I am one of the defenders of Andor season 1. I did like Andor season 1. It was interesting. Stories being told were thought-provoking, and it had some momentum from first episode to the end. This one feels like it starts, in the middle. You're reading a book, and in the middle is that long, boring part. That's where Andor starts. The TIE fighter sequence that you mentioned is the best thing I've seen so far. I was kind of excited watching it because there's this sense of, when I watch Star Wars, there's the scenes with people and then there's the scenes with starships. This one blends the two together, and that's what I really liked about it. But then it just gets into just 3 stories I'm having trouble following and having trouble caring about. Mon Mothma is marrying off her daughter. I'll just give general plot points. There's Andor lands with some rebels who can't get along, and then there's the whole Death Star thing. And I think that there's an ambitiousness to Tony Gilroy here, where he's kind of playing off of the bureaucracy taking down the Empire versus the infighting of the rebels. To me, those are interesting concepts for this story, but I'm just so bored that I'm just not. And there's also a third story about some farmers who are visited by the Empire, and I will call that the Rebel Moon portion of Andor, because it feels a whole lot like Rebel Moon.
And by the way, and just to put a pin in this, we know the fates of all these characters.
Everyone lives.
Well, not everyone lives, and which is why the events seem so pointless.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, is when you do a prequel like this, you got to hit upon ideas, interesting ideas that led up to the ultimate end. And this idea that the Empire is bogged down by bureaucracy, it's a good idea, but I just don't think they're handling it right. And again, I just don't care. And I understand why people don't like Daredevil Born Again. Again, we binged it. So once one story ended, we went into the other one, and there was a good momentum that I felt I had with that one. This one, I can't even get that. And I do have the ability to binge all of these. After episode 1, I was bored, and after seeing episode 3, I'm on the verge of getting lost, and that's my problem with this series so far.